Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the rest of the topic, rest of the things which we have not covered. The About the introduction part of the Industrial Dispute Act. So let us start with the rest of the part. So let us see some of the important questions which will help us to understand what Industrial Dispute Act is, and here we are going to discuss some of the important terms which will help us to understand this Industrial Dispute Act better. So let us start with the lecture. Uh, Here the question is, what are the provisions for compensation for layoff rights of workmen under Industrial Dispute Act 1947, right? So here, as per section 25C, according to section 25C of the Industrial Dispute Act, a workman who is laid off is entitled to compensation equivalent to 50% of the total basic wages and DNS allowance for the period of layoff, right? So 50% of the total basic wages and DNS allowance also, so he's entitled for the same. So let us see what are the rights. This right of compensation is, however, subject to the following conditions. So there are some of the following conditions which is supposed to be fulfilled in order to in order to be entitled for the compensation. So let us see the conditions. The condition is, he is not a badli or a casual worker, so he should not be badli or casual worker. And after this, it is his name should be born on the muster rolls of the establishment, right? So his name should be on the muster rolls. Okay. He should have completed not less than 1 year of continuous service under the employer, so there should be at least 1 year completion, right? Not less than 1 year. A badli workman means a workman who is employed in place of another workman, right? A person who takes the place of another person, right? So that person is called badli, whose name is born on the muster roll of the establishment. However, such worker ceases to be badli workman but that workman maybe ceases to be a badli workman on his completion of 1 year service in the settlement. If he completes 1 year, so he will not be badli workman anymore, right? A workman is entitled to a lay-off compensation at the rate equal to 50% of the total basic wages. We have already discussed, but it will be 50% of the total basic wages and DNS allowance for the period of his layoff, right? So there will be DNS allowance also, which he will be entitled to, except for weekly holidays which may intervene. So apart from this, so he will not be entitled for the weekly holidays, right? So it is clearly given, except for the weekly holidays. Compensation can normally be claimed for not more than 45 days during any period of 12 months. So the compensation he will be entitled for, that will be for 45 days. Now let's move further. If it is Even if layoff exceeds 45 days during any period of 12 months, no compensation is required to be paid for the excess period if there is an agreement to that effect between the workman and the employer. So if the layoff is exceeding 45 days, right, during any between any 12 months of period, so no compensation will be paid if there is any agreement, right? If there is any agreement to that effect. So if there is an agreement between the employer and employee, so it will be accordingly. If the period of layoff exceeds 45 days, the employer has two alternatives before him. So if it exceeds 45 days, so employer has got two alternatives to, I mean two I mean he have got two options, right? So let us see those two options. To go on paying layoff compensation for such subsequent periods, so he may either pay off, right? He may either pay for those for the layoff to retrench the workman, or he may either pay for that for the exceeding period after 45 days, or he may also retrench the workman. In the case employer adopts the second alternative, he is bound to comply with the provision of section 25F, right? If he complies with the second alternative retrenchment, so that will be according to section 25F, right? In case of such retrenchment, the employer is unable to adjust the amount of layoff compensation paid during the period during the preceding 12 months against retrenchment compensation payable under section 25F, right? So it says the employer is entitled to adjust. So employer can also adjust the amount of layoff compensation which he has already paid during the preceding 12 months if against retrenchment compensation, so which has been paid against retrenchment compensation, right? So that may be adjusted, right, against retrenchment compensation payable under section 25F, right? So the right of the workman to lay off compensation is designed to relieve the hardship caused by unemployment. So the right which workman has got in the form of compensation for the layoff it is designed in order to provide him some kind of relief, right, by unemployment due to no fault of the employee. So there should be no fault on the part of the employee, right? The provision for payment of compensation for layoff does not mean that the employer can pay off compensation and declare layoff, right? So it means the provision for payment of compensation for layoff does not entitle the employer can pay off compensation and declare layoff. Okay, the payment of compensation is not a condition precedent to layoff. So payment of compensation is not a condition precedent to layoff, right? So here the thing is, the provision for payment of compensation for layoff does not mean that the employer can pay off compensation and declare layoff, right? So the provision, it says the provision where wherever there is provision for compensation for layoff does not mean that the can pay off pay layoff compensation and declare. So it means that it does not allow, it does not entitle the it does not give the authority to any employee to declare layoff and after that pay compensation, right? So now let's move further. Where the layoff is justified and it satisfied the requirement of definition under section 2 section 2 clause K, the only relief to which workmen laid off are entitled is the statutory relief prescribed by section 25C, right? So wherever there is wherever there is a legal payoff, so that legal payoff wherever the employer is justified for his layoff, wherever he has just he has just conducted layoff, so there the compensation that will be according to the section 25C. Whatever things have been just prescribed under section 25C, that will be according to that, right? So it's clearly the only relief to which workmen laid off are entitled is statutory relief prescribed. So whatever statutory reliefs are given under section 25C, only as per section 25C provision, the workmen will be entitled for the layoff, right? Okay, whatever reliefs are there. If the layoff is malified, in the sense that it has been declared in order to victimize the workman, if that is illegal, malified, which is just to victimize the workman, it would not be layoff justified under section 2K, right? So it will not, if it is just to harass, just to victimize the workman, so that will not be legal under section 2 clause K. And relief provided to the layoff workmen under section 25C would not be the only relief to which they are entitled, right? So whatever relief are provided to layoff workman under 25C would not be the only relief. So he may claim some other relief also, right? Let's move further. What are the cases in which a workman is not entitled to layoff compensation? So we are going to see the cases in which workman is not entitled to layoff compensation. It is the provision section 25E provides certain exception to the general rule for payment of layoff compensation. In other words, if the workman is laid off, he will be disentitled to claim compensation if his case falls within any of the three clauses in this section. So we are going to see the three the three cases and the cases in which the workman will not be entitled for layoff compensation, right? So in the following case, worker who is laid off will not be entitled to claim compensation if we the first condition is, the first case is refusal to accept alternative employment. If the employee is refusing to accept alternative employment, if a laid off workman refuses to accept alternative employment, provided that such alternative employment is in the same establishment from which he has been laid off, right? So that should be in the same establishment from which he has been laid off, in any other establishment belonging to the same employer situated in the town or village within a radius of 5 miles from the establishment to which he belongs, right? It should be, the establishment should belong to the employer, that should belong to the employer, right? Situated in the town within radius of 5 miles, so that should be within the radius of 5 miles from the establishment to which he belongs, right? In the opinion of the employer, the alternative employment does not call for any special skill. So it should not that particular alternative employment should not require any special skill which the workman is not possessing at that point of time, or previous experience and can be done by workman, right? Or skill or previous experience and can be done by the workman. So there should be no any special skill, right? It carries the same wages which would normally have been paid to the workman in his original employment. So carry it carries the same wages. It should carry the same wages, right? And would normally have been paid to the workman in his original employment. Okay. This is as it is clearly written, if a laid off workman refuses to accept alternative employment, provided that so these are the conditions. If these are the conditions which are provided in the alternative employment, so if these are the conditions, then he will not be entitled. If he is refusing this alternative after all the conditions which are given, if he is refusing this alternative employment, then he will not be entitled for the layoff compensation. Now let's move further. Absence from the establishment. If he is absent from the establishment, if the workman does not present himself at the appointed time during normal working hours at least one day, if he is not at least one day, if he is not present there for at least one day, strike or go slow. The third condition, if such laying off is due to a strike or a slowing down of production on the part of the workman in another part of the establishment, if he is participating in strike, or just taking part, he is just slowing down the production, right, on the part of the workman, right? So in this situation also, if he is doing all these things, then he will not be entitled as per the three cases. If these are the three cases, in these three cases the workman will not be entitled for layoff compensation, right? And the next point which we have to discuss, that is, what are the special provision relating to prohibition of layoff. So what are the provisions for prohibition of layoff, right? As per section 25M chapter 5B added to the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 by Industrial Dispute Amendment Act 1976. So that is section 25M, which is under chapter 5B, right? Places certain restrictions on the right of the employee to lay off, right? So there are certain restrictions which are given under section 25M, right? So let's see what does section 25M say. It says section 25M lays down that no workman other than a badli or casual workman whose name is borne on the muster roll of industrial establishment to which this chapter applies shall be laid off by his employer, unless such layoff is due to shortage of power, natural calamity, and case of mine, such layoff is due to fire, hood, excess of inflammable gas, explosion, right? So it says that no more workman other than badli, so that should not be badli or casual worker, whose name is on the muster, right, of an industrial establishment to which this chapter applies, chapter 5B, right, be laid off. Okay, so will not be laid off unless layoff is so the layoff should be because of the shortage of power, natural calamity, and in the case of mine, such layoff is due to is due also to fire, hood, excess of inflammable gas, explosion. He can lay off the workman only with the prior permission of the appropriate government. So the condition is he can lay off, but there is requirement of permission of the appropriate government or such authority as may be specified by that government on an application made in this behalf, right? So there should be an application made by the employer in this behalf, right, which was amended by the Industrial Dispute Amendment Act 1984. Let's move further. An application for permission shall be made by the employer in the prescribed manner. So that will be in the prescribed manner. Clearly the reasons for the intended layoff, so the reason should be properly mentioned in that application. A copy of such application shall also be served simultaneously on the workman consent, so that will also be given to the workman, where the workmen other than badli workman or casual worker, so they should not be badli or casual worker, of a mine have been laid off of fire, flood, or excess of inflammation gas, the employer shall within a period of 30 days from the date of commencement of such layoff, so within 30 days from the date of such commencement of layoff, apply to appropriate authority or specified authority for permission to continue the layoff. So if they have been laid off, so within 30 days if there has to be extension, so that will be that needs to be for that the permission needs to be taken from the appropriate government, right? Where an application for the permission has been made, the appropriate government or the specified authority shall make necessary inquiry as it thinks fit. So the inquiry will be made from the side of the appropriate government. It shall give a reasonable opportunity of being heard to the employer the workman concerned and the persons interested in the layoff. So all the, I mean, it is a principle as on the basis of principles of natural justice, right? So that's in the administrative law. So on the basis of that, so principles of natural justice, so I mean, here both the parties, so all the concerned parties will be given they will be they will be given a reasonable opportunity of being heard, right? The appropriate government, having regard to genuineness and adequacy of the reason for such layoff, to the interest of the workmen and all other relevant factors by order, and for such reasons to be recorded in writing, grant or refuse the grant such permission. A copy of the order of the appropriate government or prescribed authority shall be communicated to the employer and the workman. So after due process, all the principles of natural justice, after hearing both the sides, so if the appropriate government thinks fit, so it may either grant grant the permission for the layoff, or even just may stop the employer from doing that layoff. So what is the now let's move further. It's what is the procedure for calculation of retrenchment compensation under Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So let us see what is the calculation, how the calculation is done, right? So the calculation is that is, while effecting retrenchment of the workman, it is obligatory on the part of the employer to pay retrenchment compensation at the rate of 15 days wages. So the conditions that should I mean, the retrenchment compensation will be calculated at the rate of 15 days wages for every completed year. So for every completed year, right, to be calculated at last drawn salary of the employer. So that will be on the basis of last drawn salary. The calculation compensation is to be based from the date of appointment. So the calculation compensation will start from the date of appointment, and in the case of employee has completed 240 days, in case the another condition is in other situation, if the employee has completed 240 days, he will be entitled to 15 days retrenchment. So in that case also, I mean, instead of 1 year, so that is 240 days, so there also he will be entitled for 15 days retrenchment compensation, besides 1 month's notice or salary in. So besides this, right, apart from this 1 month's notice or salary in lieu thereof, as if he has worked for 1 year, so it will be deemed as if he has worked for 1 year, right? 240 days includes Sunday or off days as well as festival national holidays. It includes Sundays, off days as well as festival or national holidays, right? So it is included Sunday and holidays also, right, in the 240 days. Let's move further. In case our employee has worked for more than 1 year, the procedure is that in case the subsequent period of 1 year is less than 6 months, so if it is less than 6 months, the subsequent period after 1 year, then it will be counted as 1 year for the calculation of compensations. Then it will be counted as 1 year, right? While making calculation, the period of notice is also to be taken into consideration. So the period of notice will also be taken into consideration, right? Whatever notice has been given, right? The period of notice, that will be also taken into account while calculating this 1 year. What are the conditions precedent to retrenchment? So let us see the condition precedents, important conditions. Section 25F provides a condition precedent to retrenchment. According to this section, the employee must satisfy the following conditions before retrenching an employee for a continuous period of not less than 1 year, right? So it should not be less than 1 year, right? So the condition is not less than 1 year. Okay, the workman has been given 1 month's notice in writing. So 1 month's notice should be given, indicating the reason for retrenchment, and the period for notice has expired. And after the period of notice has expired, the workman has been paid in lieu of such notice wages for the period of the notice, right? So or the workman has been paid in lieu of such notice wages for the period of notice. So either notice, or he has been paid notice in lieu of he has been paid he has been paid wages in lieu of such notice. He has been paid wages, right? The workman has been paid in lieu of such notice wages for the period of the notice. Okay, these are the conditions. Let's move let's look at the next condition. The workman has been paid at the time of retrenchment compensation which shall be equivalent to 15 days average pay. So the retrenchment compensation, that will be equivalent to 15 days average pay, right, for every completed year of continuous service. So that will be for on every completed year of continuous service, he will be entitled for 15 days average pay. notice in the prescribed manner is served on the appropriate government. So the notice in the prescribed manner, it is notice in the prescribed manner is served on the appropriate government. So even the notice will be served on the appropriate government, and or such authority as may be prescribed specified by the appropriate government by notification of official gazette, right? So notice in the prescribed manner is served. So in the there is the prescribed manner on the basis of which in that property format the notice will be served on the appropriate government, right? Or any other such authority as may be specified by appropriate by notification of official gazette, right? So the notice has to be served on the appropriate government also, right? Now let's move further. Calculation of average pay is done by dividing the last drawn monthly salary by 25. So let's see, this is how the calculation is going to be done by dividing the last drawn monthly salary by 25. So last drawn salary divided by 25, and then multiplying the dividend by 15 for every completed year of working days, right? So that will be that will be multiplied by and then multiplying the dividend by 15. So then it will be multiplied by 15 for every year for completing every for every completed year of the continuous service. So whatever year they have completed, so that will be multiplied by 15 times, right? Okay, by 15. Okay, so yeah, exactly. So whatever dividend will come, that will be multiplied by 15 for every completed year of continuous work. Now let's move further. What is the procedure for retrenchment provided under Industrial Dispute Act 1947? So let us see the procedure. Section 25G lays down the procedure for retrenchment. So what is the procedure? Where any workman in an industrial establishment who is a citizen of India, so that should be the citizen of India, is to be retrenched and he belongs to a particular category. If he is belonging to some particular category of workmen in that establishment, in the absence of any agreement between, if there is any absence of any agreement between the employer and the workman in this behalf, the employer shall ordinarily retrench the workman. So the employer shall ordinarily retrench the workman who was the last person to be employed. So that will be the last person to be employed. Who is the last person to be employed will be retrenched, right? Last person to be employed in that category, unless for reasons to be recorded the employer retrenches any other workman. So for any special reason, for any special reasons to be recorded, he may retrench some other workmen also. So the employer is also required to maintain a seniority list of the workmen. So there should be a list of seniority list of workmen also. The system of last in first out. So who is last will be in first out, right? Last in first out to be followed in retrenching process. So last in first, who is in the last will be first out, right? Retrenching, right? So it says the work system of last in first out is to be followed in retrenching workmen. So it is last in first out. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of this video, and rest we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Take care.